It's time for an Ask Anything mailbag, Miami Dolphins edition, heading into Week 11 of the National Football League. And we get it going right away with a first-time Super Chat question from JB. And I love this question because it felt like the Black Friday game was far, far, far away. But it's coming up quick after the game against the Raiders. And JB asked, do you worry about the Jets on Black Friday? In a word, no. And that might sound cocky. It really might, especially when you consider how good that defense is. I think it'll be one of the better defenses that Miami has seen, and the offensive line will have to be up to the task in protecting Tua Tagovailoa and opening up holes in the run game. But I think Miami's defense is getting better and better every game, especially the back seven combined with the ability to get pressure on the quarterback that's been pretty good all season long. And we've seen the struggles that Zach Wilson and the Jets have had on the offensive side of the ball. And so I think this could be a potential statement opportunity for the Dolphins defense. And even against the best defenses in the National Football League, like the Jets, my money's still on Tua. My money is still on the Cheetah and Tyreek Hill. This was a generationally good offense. I know they've had their struggles in recent games, but this is still the same team that is first in a lot of statistical categories, and I know I go back to that a lot, but I'm not worried about the Jets. In fact, I am pumped for the Black Friday game, a standalone game, and what better opportunity than a standalone game to show the rest of the NFL how good this Dolphins team is. They're for real. I'm not worried. Looking forward to that Black Friday game. We've got another Super Chat question. This one from Gerald Stokes. Defense leads the way home to the Super Bowl. And yeah, to repeat myself, I love the direction of this defense under first-year defensive coordinator Vic Fangio. Very complicated scheme, and some of the guys have been public. Keke Coutee spoke to the media earlier this week and said it took a little while to get our feet underneath us, get more acclimated and comfortable with the scheme. But now you're seeing the fruits of those labors from the early season where this defense continues to take steps forward. They've been really good in recent games. And most recently, I know there was a bye week in between it, but they shut down the Chiefs in the second half. And really for 3 quarters, that Chiefs offense did nothing. And the Dolphins defense gave them every opportunity to win that game in Germany. Fell a little bit short. But point being, I really like the direction of this defense. A question from Chad Jones on the live comments using that hashtag Dolphins. Do you think the Raiders could be a hidden loss if Miami doesn't go all in, gotten behind the interim coach? Yes, referring to the Raiders. We had a great preview on this on the channel, so check that out when you get some time, diving into everything about this Raiders team. It's been a roller coaster of a year for the Raiders. Started 1-3, was really, really bad. Jimmy Garoppolo had his struggles, threw a ton of interceptions, and then, of course, everything that happened in firing Josh McDaniels, not Mike McDaniel, Josh McDaniels, who was fired by the Raiders, and Antonio Pierce took over for him. And since then, they're 2-0 in games coached by Antonio Pierce, and there's something to be said about momentum, and I think the Raiders have it. However, here is what I'll add, Chad Jones. Eventually, the adrenaline is going to run out, and all of a sudden, you got to rely on the guys you've got in the X's and O's, and I think the Dolphins have the advantage in both those categories. I think the Dolphins' offense is more talented than the Raiders' offense. Yes, the Raiders have some pieces. They've got one of the best wide receivers in the league in Davante Adams, Josh Jacobs, tremendous running back, of course, but I still like Miami's defense against that Raiders offense. And then defensively, the Raiders have really struggled at stopping the run. Defensively against the pass, they get a ton of pressure on the quarterback. Obviously, Maxx Crosby, one of the best defensive linemen, best edge rushers, defensive end, however you want to classify it, in the National Football League. He wreaks havoc on the opposition. So there are some pieces there, but I think the Dolphins are the more complete game, but the more complete team, but they'll definitely have to bring their A game on Sunday against the Raiders. G the GOAT. There we go. G the GOAT. Why would we sign Norwell over La'el Collins? Great questions. Both free agent offensive linemen. And we talked a little bit about Norwell earlier in Dolphins Today. And he's a guy that is on the market as a free agent. He was the highest paid guard in 2018, highest paid interior defensive lineman. He's been an All-Pro before, and the resume is pretty well decorated. Not quite as decorated as La'el Collins. You could also make the case that Collins is younger, has a little bit more gas in the tank. And so, I'm not going to argue with you. I kind of like the thought process there. In fact, we did a little bit of an explanation earlier in the year about the Dolphins potentially signing La'el Collins. So I'll say I'm good with both of them. I just want this Dolphins team to add a little bit of depth to the offensive line. So that's another name to keep your eye on. I don't hate it. So you got to let me know in the comments. The Dolphins need to sign an offensive lineman. I gave you my opinion. I think yes. Type Y for yes or N for no. You got to let me know. Another question on our Ask Anything mailbag. You think Cater will settle better into the nickel corner this week? I do. So the nickel corner, let's break it down a little bit. More of that interior corner, guarding like a slot wide receiver, or depending on the scheme, that sort of thing. Whereas the wide corners, I think your unquestioned corners there are Jalen Ramsey and Xavier Howard. So utilizing the versatility of a guy like Keke Coutee and Vic Fangio, which I love. Vic Fangio has some old school tendencies as a defensive coordinator. He kind of lets you know who his guys are, who he kind of thinks is, I don't want to say favorite. He doesn't play favorites by any means, but he recognizes guys that can help his scheme, and Keke Coutee is one of those guys. He's been somewhat public about that in some of his comments, and we've seen the way he's utilized Keke Coutee's skill set. He's even blitzed him a couple of times. Coutee's had some big sacks throughout the course of the year, and that's coming from a cornerback. So yes, I think that's a really good point, Every Noodle, that Keke Coutee has the versatility to play a nickel corner. I know Perry Nicholson, that's a good combo, right? Perry Nicholson, nickel corner, might play some nickel corner as well, and those are two guys. Nick Needham's another guy to keep your eye on now that he's healthy, but I think Vic Fangio obviously he loves Jalen Ramsey and Xavier Howard, but I think Keke Coutee as well. Before we go any further, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor of today's show, and that is GameTime. GameTime is the only ticketing app that you will need. It's the only ticketing app I need for all live events, because this is crazy when I tell you, but it's true. They reward being a last-minute procrastinator. You get the lowest price guaranteed on last-minute ticket deals. It's an amazing thing. Let's say you want to get together with your buddies. You want to head out to the Dolphins game. The day of the game, you can find tickets on GameTime. In fact, that is one of their specialties. It's a super easy to use app as well. You get a nice high definition photo of where your seats will be. So there's no gimmicks, no games, no deception or anything like that. Just a couple of clicks and you've got the lowest price on a ticket guaranteed. And great for last-minute ticket deals as well. Not just for football, basketball, baseball, or sporting events. How about concerts as well? Game Time's got you covered there as well. So we've got $20 off for you on your first purchase when you create an account and use the promo code FINSCHAT. That's PHINSCHAT. FINSCHAT. Use that promo code when you create an account. We've got $20 off for you. Now, terms do apply, but it's real simple. Download the app, create the account, use that promo code FINSCHAT, and start enjoying the lowest prices guaranteed on tickets, even last-minute ticket deals. That's Game Time. So use that promo code FINSCHAT for $20 off when you create an account for all your ticket needs. $20 off using promo code FINSCHAT with Game Time. All right, our one and only Fear the Kilt has a question, and you got to love that. Why does Grier refuse to sign O-line depth? I love it. I love it. Why the F? Why the actual F, according to Fear the Kilt? And if I had an ability, or if I had a phone, I could call Chris Grier up. I would. I'd ask and just say, explain that, like I pull the Michael Scott. Explain this to me like I'm 5 years old. And I really don't have a good explanation for you because I wonder this as well, especially when you consider the decimating injuries to this offensive line and the vast amount of injuries that this offensive line has experienced. Now, what I will say, though, is it hasn't really cost the Dolphins yet. They've had guys fill in, and even though they've had kind of a musical chairs feel to their offensive line, they've been able to really weather the injury storm and put together a decent offensive line unit by a lot of different metrics, including maybe the most important metric for this offense in protecting Tua Tagovailoa. They've really limited the sacks and the pressures on Tua. But as far as the root of the question, I've got nothing for you. I don't know why. We've been giving them options. I mean, we've done free agent signings. They've worked out some guys, so maybe that will be different this time around. All right, Captions Caught asks us, why are we not using Claypool as much? Great question. Great question. I want to get into it because I've had the same question. And so I've watched a little bit more film, the all 22, that sort of thing. And it feels like, and this is just me speculating, I don't want this to be a headline, Claypool doesn't understand the offense. That's not what I'm saying. I think the complexity of Mike McDaniel's scheme combined with Claypool being an in-season acquisition has somewhat slowed the process down, and I think it's a wait-and-see kind of narrative as well. Right now, yes, what has he been active for 3 games? He hasn't really done much. That's admitted. But he has made one big catch, and it seems like he's trending to get to that point. It's just taking a little bit longer than I'd hoped, maybe a little bit longer than you hope. But I would say don't give up hope on Claypool yet. And Mike McDaniel, as the brilliant play caller he is, combined with Frank Smith, the offensive coordinator, I think they can find a way to get Claypool the ball and get him involved with the offense, especially as more and more teams start to just hone in on Waddle and Tyreek Hill. That's going to open up some areas in the secondary for other guys to do some damage, and I think Claypool can be one of those guys. You got River Craycraft coming off of injured reserve, Durham Smythe as the tight end, and even Cedric Wilson. We saw him make some plays, or at least be in position to make some plays against the Chiefs. He had the 1 touchdown, which is impressive to see. I think he's starting to trend in the right direction as well. So I'm not saying it's going to be Claypool, but I do think defenses are going to key in on Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, so somebody else is going to have to step up for Tua Tagovailoa. DeScott's! Oh, you love DeScott's. I know Phillips got potential, but with all the injuries, you see the Dolphins giving him an extension. It's a good question, and it's hard because I think Phillips as a person and as a player really embodies what this Dolphins team is all about. He's active in the community and is a really well-spoken guy, seems to have a positive impact on the locker room as well. And the production this year hasn't really been there. He's missed a number of games. He missed that Sunday night football game against the New England Patriots. But that said, I think he's getting better and better with each game. Him and Bradley Chubb started to make an impact in that game in Germany against Patrick Mahomes. And in 6 games played, the stats aren't eye-popping, but they are productive. And with the position that the Dolphins are in as far as in a cap deficit, there will be some tough decisions that have to be made moving forward. But I think Jaylen Phillips is a guy that you invest in. But I said what I think. Now you tell me. Let me know in the comments if it's possible. Would you give Jaylen Phillips an extension? Type that money sign for yes or 0 for no. You got to let me know in the comments. Chef Jou's in the house. What's going on? Glad to have you a part of Dolphins Today. Do you feel that Craycraft and Achane will play Sunday? I say yes, they will. All right, let me cut that one in half, and I'll start with Craycraft. I think Craycraft is ready to go and will not only be active, but making a meaningful impact in the game on Sunday against the Raiders. He's been practicing for 3 weeks, and that's why I kept waiting. I kept waiting for the announcement that the Dolphins had activated him off of IR because, you know, you get 21 days, so a 3-week window when you start practicing to come off of IR, and the Dolphins did not activate him until the final day of that 3-week window. And so that tells me he's had 3 weeks of practice. He's ready to go. He's acclimated. He's healthy enough. So I think we'll see 85 on Sunday. Now, for Achane, he just started practicing this week. So that 21-day window, even if he's not activated by Sunday against the Raiders, he still has 2 more weeks to start to get acclimated. So I'm not as confident. While I'm optimistic, I'm not overly confident. And we know the stats that Devon Achane has put up this year. He's been a human highlight reel. They're Madden-like video game numbers, 12.1 yards per carry. Are you kidding me? I hope we see him on Sunday, but I'm more confident in Craycraft. I'll say Craycraft about a 90% chance, and Achane probably closer to 50-50. From Tom Murbach, why don't the Dolphins sign Ben Jones and move Conor Williams to OG? Good question. Ben Jones, an available center on the free agent market list. And Conor Williams, though, it's interesting because everybody's going to talk about that snap on 4th down against the Kansas City Chiefs. You know what happened? Tua Tagovailoa was unable to handle the snap, and the Dolphins don't get the first down. Game over. But Conor Williams, I think, gets a lot of hate. And maybe, all right, hate's too strong of a word. A lot of slack. We'll say it that way. And I think he's one of the better offensive linemen on this Dolphins team. And you look at the Pro Football Focus grades, you watch the tape, this guy is a very productive offensive lineman, and they had their snapping issues early, but Mike McDaniel even talked about this in his press conference. I don't have the quote in front of me, but essentially McDaniel is overly confident in Conor Williams because he's seen him time and time again be that center that the Dolphins need. And so I don't think you're going to see, not saying right, in fact, right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I just think the way the Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel and the front office has spoken about Conor Williams and how they believe in him, I don't think you're going to see the Dolphins add a center to replace Conor Williams. I think they feel he is their guy. Now, our channel continues to grow, and that's a testament to each and every one of you out there. We so appreciate it. Help us get to our next milestone of 51K, and you subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. It takes less than 1 second, and in return, we bring you Dolphins daily content, videos every day, live watch parties, live shows, and everything in between. Your one-stop shop for all things Miami Dolphins. And that is why you subscribe. Love each and every one of our subscribers out there. So appreciative for your support of Dolphins Today.